Alrighty, tonight we're going to go ahead and get started on an alternator for 89 Shelby CSX number 42. You get the AC compressor on the top there and then the alternator down here. Not too terrible of an ordeal at all to get going, but I'm not going to lie, this is the one car that has got the capability even for functional AC that I've got from all these old turbo Mopars. So it is a couple extra steps, but overall, again, not a huge deal. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and relieve the tension on the belt. Right down here, there's going to be one bolt that goes through the ear on the alternator, and then there's going to be a nut on a little rubber piece down there. Not sure how well we'll be able to show that, but nonetheless, it's pretty hard to miss out on. It's right below that bolt. Then from there is a tensioner on this front side over here, and you go ahead and relieve your tension there. And it's 13. All of these on this particular model are 13 because it's an 89. I believe 90 and later they were actually all 15 millimeter. They went up a size for the bolts. So nonetheless, we'll relieve the tension on the bolt that will allow the alternator to pivot down and out of the way, remove the belt, and then we'll try and start weaseling this thing out. I do recommend pretty highly with the alternator to go ahead and disconnect both your negative and positive battery terminals, because there is a direct feed to the battery through this wire right here to the positive side. So we don't want to go shorting anything out. And we'll start with that first and then move ahead. Alrighty, so we went ahead and took out the two nuts and two bolts that hold the compressor on here for the AC. Set it out of the way under some microfiber towels, or rather on top of some microfiber towels, so that we can avoid some scratches there. And you can see down here that that we do have the bolt right here that will come out and release the top ear of the alternator, and then there's the cross bolt that goes through. Usually it's a 14 millimeter on that. I think it's actually an English size for this bolt, but nonetheless 14s will do ya. And we'll go ahead and get these babies out, the bolts here, and the alternator will come right up, and then we'll just have to worry about our connections going on the new one after they come off of this one. Alright, you can see in the middle of the screen here we've got the alternator up and ready to go. I just kind of left it hanging in there, if you will. The feed coming off the alternator right here is 10 millimeter. There are usually two ears that have each got a ground. Those on this one are 8. Now, again, this is an earlier one, so Chrysler did step it up. So later years will be a 13 for the feed off the alternator, and then the two grounds will be 10s. And then I forget if it's a 6 or a 7 for that the field terminals there, but it's just a little guy. And you go ahead and do that. One tip that I like to give people, especially if you're going to be daily driving these things still in a cold climate with a lot of salt, go ahead and spring for some stainless nuts, and that'll really save you a lot of heartache down the road. These studs do tend to corrode pretty badly, especially the field terminal studs. So putting some sort of anti-seize or other corrosion protectant on there and using some stainless nuts will pretty well prevent that in the future. This is pretty much it, guys. Go ahead and put your new one in and do the reverse of what we did here, and you'll have an alternator back in the car. Really not too much to these. I mean, some of the tensioners are a little bit different on the various styles throughout the years, but overall it's the same principle for the most part. So go ahead and get out there and tackle an alternator if you need to.